Hi, my name is Yuvi, and this is Writing a Novel When You're Too Busy to Write a Novel. You know, this thing goes a lot better when it's animated. There, I think you'll be much happier this way. So I have a full-time day job. My wife works full-time too, and we have a 10-year-old in the house. I mean, she's our kid. We're raising this 10-year-old. I also work on a bunch of side projects, like I wrote an app, actually a few apps. Also, I keep busy with fun things like chronic migraines, like I get a lot of them. Also, I spend a lot of time whining. And also, I like to play video games, and sometimes I'm constipated. But in the middle of all this junk, my second novel is getting published by Red Hen Press. So I thought I'd talk about how I wrote this book, though I don't want to turn this into like a list of done tips or anything like that. Depending on how you look at it, I either wrote this thing in 5 days or 5 years. Let's start with the 5 days part. This began as a short story. I was slogging through a difficult to write novel, but I was also writing some short stuff on the side. So I had this longest short story on my hands, this place where I could vent about work, about parenting, about the messiness of relationships, and the messiness of how we're so connected to our devices, but not so connected to the humans around these devices. Anyway, when my agent read it, she said, "This actually sounds like you're having fun, like more fun than the novel I was supposedly writing." And also she said, "This sounds like a novel." Shit, I didn't want another novel on my hands. I wanted a pretty little short story. I didn't want a marriage. I wanted a fling. I'm talking about the novel. That was a metaphor. It took me a few days to recover from this grim news about the short story that maybe is a novel. But then I started thinking about it, like in the shower or on the way to work, like where this dumb story would go. I wrote a list of 10 steps to get the story from start to finish. You know, like roughly a hero's journey-ish thing, but not too rigid or tedious. You know, I was tired and still reluctant. Over a few weeks, I started getting excited about turning this thing into a bigger story. I was itching to see if this thing had legs, but it's hard to make big, fast movements when you're working 40 plus hours and you have to clean the kitchen and take care of your kid and whine a lot. So I took a week off of work so I could really make sense of this story and dig into it. I left the house for 5 days, stayed at a cheap hotel. Every morning I worked 3 to 4 hours at a cafe. Every evening I took notes on the issues I found with the story as I was thinking about it or reviewing it. So at the end of the week I had a 30,000 word short novel on my hands and lots of notes about things that needed to be fixed or updated or revisited. I didn't want to get derailed from the forward momentum, but I also knew I needed to track these issues for later. It took me a year to turn that 30,000 word thing into a 65,000 word novel draft. At the end of the year, after getting lots of great feedback from my writing group and also from a few trusted readers, I used another getaway to review the whole draft and make a new list of issues, and I also started tackling the most problematic issues right there during that getaway. I could never have gotten to that point without the week-to-week support of a great writing group, and also with the help of some dear friends who gave me emotional support and also read my damn manuscript and gave me nice feedback. Now, the next year or so was more of a rinse and repeat of this whole process until I was ready to shop it around. Over the following 2 years, my agent was helping me find a publisher, and I've been incorporating edits along the way from helpful editors who liked the book. While the book was out with editors, I was chipping away at other projects, working on my next novel and other things. So that's the basic gist of it. I don't know if this is useful, there's no obvious tips here, and it's nothing magical, but I just wanted to mention that for me, it's still possible to write a weird novel even when busy with family and day job and chronic pain and chronic shame and constipation.